Hi, I'm Kesenya and welcome to Guiding Star Astrology. I'm your Astro Weather Girl, here with this week's Astro Weather Report. I'm going to show you how the stars are going to affect your life this week. To get the most out of this video, I suggest listening to the report while you're cleaning or exercising, maybe creating something or driving down the road. Listen to the intro so that you know what's going to affect you and when it's going to happen in the week ahead. Lastly, use the timestamps in the description to go to your rising sign, sun sign and moon sign in order to learn how things will affect you personally. I'd like to point out that this will be a general read. We're looking at the general influence of the stars upon our life. If you would like to know something more specific about your life and how the stars are specifically interacting with you, I would suggest getting a reading with a professional astrologer. You can do so with me through the link in the description below if you would like. But I reiterate, this is a general read. I'd like to give a special welcome to anyone who is new to astrology. You're so welcome here at this channel. If you would like to learn to read your own astrology chart, I offer a short course. It's very cheap and it's lots of fun. The link is in the description below. To all of my friends who join me here each week, who like and share my videos and subscribe to my channel, I do love you. To my gold and silver and bronze star family members, I do pray for you every day. I thank the universe for your presence in my life. If anyone would like to join the Guiding Star family, the link is also in the description below. And now to this week's Spotlight.
So I'm here in the park with Peter Carter, yoga teacher, transference healer and wellness retreat host extraordinaire.
Hi, how are you?
Peter, it is lovely to be chatting with you, and you've hosted retreats all over the world. Tell us about some of the places that you've hosted retreats.
So our first retreat that I ever hosted was in Bali, and then we had planned, and that was amazing, that was right on the beach at Sea. And then we had planned Thailand and Bali back in 2020, but due to what happened with COVID, we were unable to do that. So we now host them in Victoria, and we've been running a few. We've got one in Byron Bay soon, we've had them in Lawn, all over Victoria, and we've got one in Echuca soon as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little about what happens at your retreats.
Okay, so for the moment that you say yes and step in, we make sure that we cocoon you in a lot of loving energy, and we use particular grids and procedures from transference healing, which is a modality that I offer, to ensure that the space is really quite clear of anyone else's energy, and also the land is clear as well. So as soon as you step in, you are feeling that support and that nourishment. And then it's just an unfolding. I mean, it's so much fun. It's all about connection, connecting into ourselves, connecting with others. But it's also, we teach you lots of modalities that help you to unfold things and to unlock patterning that we've had stored in our bodies that we thought were unable to release. We teach you about chakra dance. We get to do chakra dances. We've got astrology on this workshop, yoga, meditation, you name it. And there's a lot of downtime as well. So we're going to always make sure that we're immersed around a lot of nature.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you've got a retreat coming up in Echuca on the 3rd to the 6th, and I'll be hosting a Venus in Astrology workshop there. So where can people go to find out more and to book?
Okay, so if you have gone on my Facebook page, which is www.elements.net.au, there will be like all the details on this upcoming retreat and a little write-up on Kesenya as well, which is really cool, and what we're going to address in the workshop. And that will be there, and you can actually book in through that, or if you look up on my Facebook page as well, you can book that way as well and find out all the details of what the retreat contains.
Cool. And you've got a special deal going for all of my viewers who want to attend, who are in Australia. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so for all Kesenya's viewers that are in Australia and would love to come and experience and see Kesenya performing live, and also the chakra dance and just get yourself involved, we're just offering like a $50 voucher for you to use on this, so to put towards the retreat.
So if people book in and they've heard about it through the Guiding Star YouTube page, just mention that and they'll get $50 off.
Yeah, mention that and you'll receive $50 straight away off your retreat.
Sensational. Thanks so much, Peter. And we'll see everybody at the retreat.
Yep, thank you.
So let's dive right into the weather this week. The best electional days that we're looking at this week are the 8th, 9th and 10th. All of these days can give good results, but you must be careful, of course, not to initiate any actions when the moon is void on these days. Now, we also see that Mercury will be moving out of bounds this week. That means its declination is going to move roughly beyond 23 degrees. And that's happening on the 8th of May. Mars is already out of bounds beyond that declination as well for this week. The moon will also be moving out of bounds on the 14th of May. That's when all these planets move beyond 23 degrees of declination. So what can we harness from these out of bounds movements on these days? Well, we need to know what they rule in our chart. What does Mercury rule in your chart? What does the moon rule in your chart? What does Mars rule in your chart? In other words, where are the signs that these planets rule? What house are they in whole sign astrology? And therefore, what field of your life will be affected by these out of bounds planets? What does an out of bounds planet do? Well, it's a bit of a wild card, actually. And it's in the areas governed by these planets. So let's point them out just for everybody. Cancer, ruled by the moon. Aries, ruled by Mars. Scorpio, ruled by Mars. And Gemini, ruled by Mercury. And Virgo, ruled by Mercury. So look at all those areas of life, and that's a lot of areas. That's at least half the chart practically that is going to be affected by the ruling planets being out of bounds and behaving like wild cards, behaving restlessly, behaving in an out of control manner. So there's quite a few realms of life where we might be feeling a little bit out of control this week. But we can also feel very creative as well. We get sudden amazing downloads of information. We can be thinking really quirkily, really differently, really like edgy with our thinking that can take us to like deeper expressions of who we are. But just know this week could be filled with a bit of upheaval in certain realms of life based on these planets moving beyond their usual parameters. Now let's take a peek at the energies that are playing out between the planets and the connections that they're making with one another this week. Well, the first one is happening on the 8th of May, the day this video will go up on YouTube. And what is occurring is a Venus to Jupiter square. Here is Jupiter down at the last degrees of Aquarius, making a square to Venus at the last degrees of Taurus. What's this going to bring? Now, if you're wanting the times this is going to be exact and the dates it's going to be exact in your part of the world, check the description box below for all these energies that I'm going to be talking about. When I refer to a date, it will be Melbourne time. If you would like to know your part of the world when that is occurring and at what time, check the description box. I don't have time to be going through every single location in the world and the time that these events will be taking place. So I've made it easy for everyone. Just pop into the description box. But this is a hard aspect between two benefic planets. The trouble is with these planets of, let's call them blessing, that they actually govern different facets of our life and quite polaric facets, interestingly enough. Venus is a material planet. It's about the substance that we experience on Earth, the touch, taste, sight, sound, and smell. You know, the tactile things, the sensual things, the scents, you know, the perfumes, the nature, the beautiful bed linens, the lovely clothes, the decadent food. Venus is all those material, earthly, earthbound things. What is Jupiter? Highly spiritual. Jupiter is about higher learning, knowledge of the mind, access to spiritual realms. It's about beliefs, it's about morals, it's about ethics, it's about purpose and meaning, it's about philosophy. Hello, Jupiter to Venus is very, very different, even though they're both beneficial planets. So this week, with a square, a hard aspect between these two, we might be caught in a bit of a tug of war between our material side and our spiritual side. Be aware that everything that looks good on the surface could actually be a double-edged sword. You know, you go on a fun date, but it ends up costing you a week's wages. You decide you're going to have that delicious dinner, but you can't fit into your pants the next morning. You're going to take a night off your responsibilities and just chill in front of Netflix and maybe binge watch your favorite series. Lo and behold, the laundry room doesn't get tidy and it's still messy the next morning. You know, there's a double-edged sword with this push-pull of these two energies. There is a positive side to this because they are two benefic energies. And what this means on this particular day, the 8th of May, is that you can have positive social connections. You know, you might have a really feel-good interaction with somebody, or just feel like getting out and socializing more and enjoying more connections, making new friends. That kind of thing can definitely happen. But look, just be triply careful about any indulgences that you get involved in or undertake, because they may not prove to be what they seem to be, or all the good that you hope they will be. Then on the following day, which is May the 9th here in Australia, Venus is moving into the sign of Gemini. Kaboom! That's great news. Venus has been in her sign, which is wonderful. She's done some wonderful things there. She's allowed us to tap into our sensual side and get in touch with maybe love and romance through the full moon in Scorpio that we had as well, that she was tied up in and involved in. Like, there's been a lot of interesting energetic expression because Venus has been in her own rulership. But now she's moving into Gemini, and this can bring fun, because even though like Venus has been in her rulership and she does great, wonderful things there, Taurus is a slow energy, it's a steady energy, it's a calm energy, and maybe that's not for everyone. Maybe some people are feeling like, I need to rattle the chains a bit, shake things up, I need to have more fun, I need things to be more light, more breezy in my life. And now with Venus moving into Gemini, we get the chance for things to be more light, more breezy, more fun. So Gemini is a friendly sign, and Venus actually is connected to friendships as well, particularly friendships with women. So we might find that our friendships are now energized through Venus moving here, and they are energized through our loving words. Venus is loving, Gemini is words, and we energize our connections with loving words now. We might energize our connections with good times, because Gemini is a very playful sign and Venus is having pleasures and, you know, doing enjoyable things. Our love interactions, Venus is our love relationships, might become more bright and breezy now, more easygoing now, as is the nature of Gemini. So it's not that Venus in Taurus is bad, far from it. It's exceptionally wonderful. It's just a different momentum when Venus moves into Gemini, and that might bring a bit of a breath of fresh air. Do be careful though, because money might come and go a bit easier than usual under this particular influence of Venus in Gemini, which it does every year. It goes into Gemini every year. Venus is in a mutable sign here. Gemini is mutable. That means it's changeable. But mutable signs want to improve things, get better, sort of up-level things. So there's this changeability to Gemini as a mutable sign. But whatever we, even though money can come and go quite quickly, whatever we do with our money will usually be to improve our life. Will usually be to make things better. So for example, you might be buying a lot more, say, books now that edify you. You might spend some money on a great course. Go over to my Learn Astrology page on my website and check out the courses there. You might find one that really fits the bill for you. You might like to enjoy that. You might spend some money on a new gadget or a new app. maybe some sort of new technology this month, because Venus is where we spend our money, and Gemini is courses and books and apps and gadgets and technology. So they are good ways to use our money, in that they will edify us. Just be careful, because we'll still be feeling the influence of Venus square to Jupiter. And so, around this time, the 8th, 9th of May, you may find that money disappears very quickly because you're in a heightened state of indulgence and you're splashing the money around. Then on the 11th of May, we are having Mercury making a conjunction with the north node of the moon here. Let's pop them together like that. This is very important, this transit. Actually, I love seeing interactions with the nodes of the moon, because they do usually manifest powerful change in our lives. And the north node is the point of our future karma, the karma that we are creating for ourselves. What is Mercury? It's conversations, it's knowledge, it's learning, it's the mental realm, it's how we judge things or test things. And here with our north node, or transiting north node I should say, we're going to be creating our future karma through maybe significant conversations that we have with others, through books that we read. We might get inspired to make changes in our lives and create future karma through some book we read, some course that we do. So isn't this beautiful timing, coming right after Venus moving into the sign of Gemini? That course that you undertake, that book that you buy, that gadget, that app that you get, can help you now, Mercury with the north node, to create and generate future karma for yourself. Positive karma, let's hope. But any of these significant conversations or interactions with new friends, any of these things that I've talked about, can actually significantly change the course of our lives under this transit. We may not see it on this day, the 9th of May. Sorry, the 11th of May. This is occurring, my mistake. Again, check out the description box below for your part of the world. But we might find that our whole lives, if we look back, in a year, 2 years' time, we look back at this time of our lives and my God, that person totally sent me on a whole new trajectory that changed the course of my life. That conversation that propelled me into, studying a new subject, and I've never gone back, or all those sorts of scenarios where some event that might seem menial and insignificant actually turns out to be one of the most pivotal experiences of our life that switched us around 180 degrees in the direction we were heading. Those kinds of events are not uncommon when we have this kind of a conjunction with the north node of the moon. Particularly, I will add, in the lead up to the eclipses that are coming at the end of this year. So the north node's kind of getting a bit potent now as the sun draws nearer in readiness for these eclipses that will be occurring. So on this day, the 11th of May, Rahu, the north node, is hungry. Rahu's always hungry. It just wants to gobble, gobble, gobble. And it's hungry for more of Mercury today. It wants more Mercury things in its life. So we might find ourselves writing more, journaling more, speaking more, talking more, having conversations more, hungering for more knowledge ourselves. We might be very insatiable about learning under this influence. And busy, OMG, we are going to be so busy on the 11th of May. Get your running shoes on. It's actually a very hectic energy, and hectic in the sense that our mental thoughts are going like really, really buzzing now, and we might have a lot of meetings, a lot of admin to deal with, a lot of emails to answer, a lot of administration projects to address. We're going to be busy, busy, busy. So you may even literally need to get your running shoes on, because Mercury is like localized movement. So you might find that you're doing lots of short trips, maybe zipping around here and there. I'm just thinking, it'll be my luck, and I'll probably have to run my kids here and run my kids there and go to this meeting and go to that meeting and buzz, buzz, buzz. But quite literally, you might be moving a lot more in your localized sphere as well. Now, straight after this, on the 11th of May, straight after this, on the following day, we're having the new moon occurring in Taurus. Now, this is happening at 21 degrees and 17 minutes of the sign of Taurus. I will also be sharing this about this energy with my Patreon family. They will get a full report and a breakdown for each sign. If you want to be part of that, if you want to experience that, $5 a month is all it takes to join in and get the full moon and new moon reports, plus heaps of other special stuff about learning astrology and divination reports and so on. So check that out. The link's in the description below. But in brief here, this new moon in Taurus, you know what? It's giving us some breathing space. Like the last moon event that we have had of significance was the full moon in Scorpio. And my God, it was really powerful, really intense. It really shook up my life, and everybody that I talked to has had significant life change from that new full moon in Scorpio. Thanks largely in part to the conjunction of the sun with Uranus at that time. But it also brought a lot of upheavals, you know, a lot of soul introspection. Pluto turned retrograde at the same time. Saturn was squaring that configuration as well. So it was a full-on moon, really full-on moon in the sign of, you know, great intensity, Scorpio. But this new moon, this one is soft. This one is flowing. This one is easy. It's a nice new moon to have. It has a beautiful trine to Pluto, and it has a lovely sextile to Neptune that are affecting this. So the outer planets are getting in on the act, just like Uranus did with the last moon event, but this one is kindly. Let me draw it on the board. So here is the new moon. We have a sextile to Neptune, and we have a trine to Pluto, which are very benevolent and helpful and supportive aspects. Because of these aspects from Neptune and Pluto, this new moon is about transforming us this time, yes, just like last time with the full moon in Scorpio, but this time it is about transforming us with ease and with grace. Whew, bit of a relief. So our emotions can be high, but in the best possible way. We're more sensitized and you know, maybe more caring, more compassionate, thanks to Neptune's involvement here with the moon and the sun. And our psychic awareness is high too. Hello, thank you, Pluto, and also Neptune as well there too. Both have connections to psychic powers, psychic insights, and awareness. So it's a great time to do psychic or occult work. Get an astrology reading or a tarot reading, or do some energy healing work, get some Reiki done, visit a psychic, because they're going to be very much turned on at this time. I actually have a psychic reading coming up that I'm really looking forward to with this. And it's a great time to do it because people who are already inclined that way and receptive that way, their attributes are going to be heightened even more and more powerful, more strong. So now is the time, if you want to do some of that occult work, get in on it. The moon and the sun are very connected to relationships in that one is the masculine luminary and one is the feminine luminary. And so relationships under a new moon do get some influence. Plus it's also in Taurus, which has obviously rulership by Venus, planet of love. So relationships can empower us now. They can change us. They can transform us with grace and ease now too. And they can fulfill us very, very deeply. So this could be really lovely, especially if you were someone who maybe established a new relationship under the full moon in Scorpio. A lot of people did. And this new moon can be sort of a deepening of that, or a ripening of that, or some sort of solidification of that. Pluto karma is at work though in any new connections that are made, and Pluto is tremendously karmic. And of course Pluto's pull is irresistible, and it's a benevolent pull this time. So any new connections, friendships, lovers, you know, dating, you know, business partnerships, whatever, any new connections that you've actually made in the last 2 weeks, they may well be very karmic. And with this manifestation, we're going to be pulled into them even deeper for the benefit of transformation and change with ease and grace. So I'd encourage you, just briefly, as I said, I talk a lot more about this. I do like an hour and a half reading on the full moons and the new moons for my patrons. But just briefly here, make the most of this stable, grounding new moon energy and use it to create solid connections in your life, positive transformations, particularly in the realms that Taurus rules, which is finances, values, connection to the natural world, sensory experiences, and the arts in particular. So transform those realms of your life and create solid stability in those areas too. Now on the 13th of May, Mercury will be in a position to, let's move him along a little bit. Hello, Mercury. Mercury will be making a trine to Saturn. Boom. So we've got quite a few nice aspects happening this week, a couple of trines and a sextile. And Mercury's trine to Saturn is happening at 13 degrees and 25 minutes. So this is a really productive energy. And of course, both are in very mental signs, Gemini and Aquarius. But Saturn and Mercury are highly productive. They're detail-oriented kind of planets. And they get off on work and details and producing. So if you've got a contract to write or a technical document to read, if you have a legal, document to prepare, or if you've got an essay that needs writing for university or something, this is your day. This energy is going to help you enormously. You will have thorough attention to detail and strong focus now. Your mental aptitude will be steady, and you'll be able to put in long hours needed to, say, write that essay or produce that piece of written work. You have the endurance mentally now to get it done. It's a serious mental energy. Saturn is serious. It's no nonsense. And Mercury, being the planet of learning and, written word and writing and speaking, you can actually be very serious about what needs to be undertaken now. And that actually gets you a long way with getting things done. Now, if you happen to work in any areas that are about structuring things, if you work in realms that have to do with administration or business affairs, government, politics, well, even long-term finance, if these are the areas you work in, you could really flourish under this particular energy today, which supports those endeavors. I will also add to that trade and deal making as well. Mercury has connections to that too. So if they're your realms of occupation, you're going to do very well. Now, also happening on this particular day, the 13th of May, we've got the Sun making a sextile to Neptune. So we've had a general sextile being made to Neptune with the full moon, but it becomes exact between the Sun and Neptune. We'll just draw that in again on the 13th of May. This energy is going to be very much about being intuitive and psychic. So again, when we couple that with what's going on with Mercury and Saturn, what does that mean? Well, that means that what we write about, what we produce in a written context could be actually quite divinely inspired. It's not that necessarily it's usually Mercury Saturn is a transit for inspired fantasy writing or something like that. But the very fact that we've got this nice connection happening between the Sun and Neptune on this day might get you sitting down and writing the next Lord of the Rings trilogy, because you will have the endurance, Saturn, to do a long stretch of writing, Mercury, about fantasy topics, Neptune, and the Sun, where you can really shine and excel at that. That's just one example. So these four planets can combine in a very healthy dynamic to get a lot of productivity, and productivity beyond the usual realms of Mercury Saturn, which is those sort of very let's say work-oriented, mundane, menial, productive things. And we can even include fantasy, idealism, romance, utopianism type work as well. Now, Neptune and the Sun can also be a great combination for generating more empathy and compassion in how we go about our days. So you might have a bigger heart full of love to give. The Sun's actually a very loving energy. I mean, think about it. The Sun quite literally is warmth. It has connections to the 5th house of love and giving affection and giving generosity. That's the Sun. It generously gives warmth and light to all of us on the planet. And Neptune's the planet of compassion and empathy. So we could feel way more loving today and have much more love in our hearts to give and to receive as well. Of course, when we're in that loving mood, that compassionate, empathetic mood, we actually feel really good about ourselves. When we're being kind to others and when we're giving a smile and giving love and holding the door open for someone and not expecting them to say thank you in return, when we're doing that kind of thoughtful, considerate actions, we feel good. Like, it makes us feel like, the world is a loving place and we're part of it. So it's the energy on this particular day, the 13th, for feeling really good about ourselves. And of course, this spills over. Our cup runneth over into relationships of all dynamics, parents to child, relationships to grandparents, to neighbors, to siblings, to friends. We might find that our energy for, loving connection, kindly, compassionate connection with all of our relationships is actually blessed too. So what a lovely day this day is going to be. And following this day, an event that I have been looking forward to for so long is Jupiter moving into Pisces. Now, Jupiter's only going to be here for 3 months, roughly till the end of July, but this is a taste of Jupiter in Pisces next year, 2022, when Jupiter is in Pisces. So I can't wait. I'm so excited. As a Pisces rising person myself, I'm going to have Jupiter in the first house. Bring it. I'm so ready. But for all of us, Jupiter's been in Saturn's sign. In fact, Jupiter's been in Saturn's sign for the last 2 years-ish. By the time we get to the end of this year, it will be a full 2 years. And it's like enough already with the sort of subjugation of Jupiter. We want Jupiter strong in our lives now. We've had enough of Jupiter being in detriment. Now we want Jupiter strong, and we're going to see Jupiter strong for the next 3 months. And Jupiter, we don't realize what an influence Jupiter actually truly is. He governs like cycles of our lives of 12 years. And he is actually the reason that we have the dasha system in the Vedic astrology. I won't go into all the depth about that, but I use the dasha system in my readings. And the dasha system is based on a 120-year lifespan, which is the 10 cycles of Jupiter. So as you can tell, I'm buzzing about Jupiter moving here into Pisces. If you would like to know what it's going to mean for you individually, head to my YouTube channel homepage, and I've got a whole playlist there of Jupiter through the houses. I talk for like half an hour to 40 minutes for each sign and what it's going to mean. So rather for each house and what it's going to mean when Jupiter transits that point. So do go there, check that out, find out what it's going to mean for you when Jupiter is moving here. So I think, given what's been happening over the last 18 months in world history, I think we're all really looking forward to a good dose of spiritual uplift, of compassion, of kindness. Jupiter is going to expand all the qualities, particularly the higher vibrational qualities of Pisces, and my God, we could all use it. So for the next 3 months, expect to feel more optimistic, more hope-filled, more glass half full. And potentially we could see our personal boundaries expand over the next 3 months as well, particularly in relation to wherever Pisces falls in your chart. And remember, the next 3 months is going to be a taste of what 2022 has in store for us. So I'm excited. Now, because I've done a big series all about Jupiter moving through each sign of the horoscope, I'm not going to go into what it means here for this reading. Instead, we're going to be looking at the wonderful conjunction of Mercury with the North Node. So let's start with the sign of Gemini, where this conjunction will be occurring. Obviously, this is happening in your first house, and this conjunction for future karma is obviously very important this week on the 11th of May. It's about finding our voice and being heard now. And for you, this will be in regard to you, Gemini people. You will be finding your voice regarding your needs, regarding your ability to thrive and survive. If you have been feeling that your ability to thrive and survive has been squashed or maligned in some way, this transit is really going to help. This is the house where through an act of our independent will, we oppose our own personal reality on the world outside. And so it's through your speaking, through your mental processes as well, that you can be imposing your will on the world now on this particular day. And in doing so, you will create future karma for yourself. So find your voice, speak your intent, speak your heart now, Gemini people. This is the house of staying alive in general, you know, like the Bee Gees. But this energy of conjunction of North Node and Mercury is going to help your survival and thrival into the future now. So again, finding your voice is so important. You may feel very hectic and busy as well under this energy because, you know, it is a busy energy. Rahu, the North Node, is hungry for Mercury things. And so Mercury is to be busy, to be flitting around, to have a lot of information coming in and going out, to be doing. So this is the house of the body. You are physically going to be very active on the 11th of May. So you know, you might be driving here and driving there, or jogging here and jogging there, or riding your bike here or riding your bike there. Physically very much a day of lots and lots of movement. We are creating our future karma as well with regard to your bodily experience. So for you, it's very important what you do on this day. You know, make sure that your spoken word words are kind and benevolent and uplifting to others, because you're creating your future karma through what you say, and it's going to affect your sign, the sign that rules the body. And so it is your physical life experience that's going to be affected by the words that you say in the long term with your karma. This is also the house of the energy we give off and the perceptions we give to other people of ourselves. And with the conjunction of the North Node, which intensifies things, with Mercury, you're going to be giving off the aura, the intensity, if you like, or the energy rather, of a very knowledge-based wisdom, intellect, and a very analytical kind of energy, where you are, maybe very well spoken or articulate, an energy that sort of reveals that side of yourself, maybe the social side of yourself as well, even the playful side of yourself, because Mercury is very playful. So this is the impression that new people that you meet are going to get of you. Someone who's quite intellectual, somebody who is maybe quite, well spoken, somebody who is playful and a bit cheeky and funny and witty and articulate, which are all nice things to be known for and perceived as. All right. So for Taurus rising, sun or moon people, this energy is falling for you in the second house, where we've got Mercury conjunct with the North Node of the moon. This is the house of materiality and the resources of our earthly life, but it's also the house of our voice and our face. And so with Mercury here and ravenous North Node sort of expanding, if you like, the energies of Mercury, you're probably going to be talking a lot, using your voice a lot. You might have a public speaking engagement, or you might need to sort of speak up and let your voice be heard in some circumstance to actually literally use your vocal cords more than usual. So finding your voice and using your voice today is very, very important. Don't shy away from it if you are a Taurus rising person. It's also in this realm that you can feel very hectic and very busy. Maybe you're cleaning out your cupboards and you realize you've got a lot of stuff, and you're doing taking loads of junk to the tip or to the, thrift shop or something like that. And you're just extremely busy with stuff. You might be out shopping. This is not an energy for buying a lot of stuff on the 11th of May, but it is an energy for dealing with a lot of stuff and being busy with a lot of stuff. So let's say you work in a warehouse or something like that, and you flat out, with the shipping and the, buying and selling and handling the goods, packaging them up and sending them out. You could be really, really busy with something like that. You might also be very busy with the use of your voice. With speaking engagements, you might be running from, an interview one morning to a radio broadcast the next, and doing your podcast in the evening. You could be very, very busy with the use of your voice. Maybe you're a singer. Maybe you have, multiple singing engagements on this day, and it's just more hectic than usual. So the use of Mercury in our lives to do with the second house can bring busyness. Anything that we value is a second house thing as well. So we're going to put a lot of value on the 11th of May on the spoken word or song or anything that requires communication. You know, we might put some value on some apps or a technological gadget that we use to communicate. Mercury thinks we might put a lot of value on being busy on this day, and we see our worth in our busyness. That's also possible as well. Keep in mind, though, that the activities we undertake on the 11th of May are going to affect our future karma for good or bad, and this will connect to, for you guys, the second house. So your ability to generate stuff that supports your body and its journey, so food, clothing, shelter, your ability to have that stability and security in the material realm is going to be impacted by the words you speak today. If you speak words of kindness and upliftment, well, your future karma, North Node is future karma, can be very blessed for you in realms of materiality. You know, if you are speaking words of derision and narcissism and, you know, gaslighting with your words and that kind of thing on this day, you'll get the karma for that, and it's likely to affect your material circumstances and stability in life. So let's keep it high level vibrational, friends, and, you know, manifest the best future karma we can through the use of our words on this particular day. If we are Aries rising, sun or moon people, you can check all three signs, don't forget. But the energy of the moon, and I'm going to put these together because they've moved apart. Mercury conjunct with the North Node is falling in your third house for Aries people. This is the house of education, communication, the world of our mind, our speech, our thoughts. It's our mindset. It's the acquisition of knowledge to support our journey in life. So it's in this realm of the chart that we may actually now be finding our voice, and in doing so, affecting our future karma. So what does this look like? Well, you might be finding your voice with some neighbors. Maybe some neighbors have been ticking you off and you need to actually find your voice and go and have a strong word to them. Stop throwing your rubbish over the fence into my yard, thank you very much. Maybe you need to find your voice of gratitude perhaps, and give thanks to a neighbor or a sibling or a relative or a teammate or co-worker. We might also, not a co-worker, a teammate. We might need to find our voice with those people, to share our thoughts with those people. It might not just be telling someone off or, having a strong word or something. It could be that we have, just an opportunity to share what we think, to share our mindset, to share our view. And that actually can affect our future karma. I mean, imagine if you shared your view on astrology with someone who was receptive, maybe a neighbor who was receptive or something on this day, and they suddenly discovered more about themselves because you told them about astrology, let's say. And they began to know themselves better. Lo and behold, your future karma can be blessed because you've opened up a whole world to someone else simply by sharing your knowledge, sharing your mindset, a very third house thing. You are going to feel quite hectic and busy in this realm on the 11th of May. So you might be busy interacting with neighbors or, connecting with your siblings and touching base with them. You might be feeling just very busy in general because this is a house of administrative tasks and small, short trips. So you might have to go here and go there and pick up the mail from there and collect your daughter from her netball practice there and blah, 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 blah. You're running, busy with lots of short trips, lots of administrative tasks, and you might not get much else done on this particular day other than the little periphery mini little crises that need dealing with, but that's okay. That's just the energy of today. Just roll with it. And the activity that we undertake and the activities we get involved in on the 11th of May are actually going to be quite significant for us in our future karma and the karma that we generate. So watch your words with neighbors and siblings. Even if you need to have a strong word with them, do so with kindness. Do so with, authority about, no more throwing rubbish over my fence. But do it in a way that is assertive but kind. And you will generate good, positive karma for the future for yourself. So our words are very powerful on this day. Use them wisely. So is what we think. Guard your thoughts. Watch your thoughts. This is the house of the mental realm. If you are over worrying about everything, that can affect your future karma. If you detach, as Eckhart Tolle suggests, then you detach and you watch your thoughts. You see your thoughts. and you don't engage with them, you just observe them, that can be very powerful, and it can help you, doing so can actually help you achieve a beautiful karma by not getting caught in the monkey mind. So what's your mind, what's your words, what's your communications, because it's all going to add up to, affecting your future karma on this day, particularly with the people represented by the third house who I've just described to you. Now, if we happen to be Pisces rising, sun or moon people, that's me, then this conjunction of the North Node and Mercury is falling in our house of home, heritage, roots and lineage. This might be where we need to find our voice. Maybe we need to speak to our family on a certain matter. It might be something positive. It might be something that we need to sort of make sure that our voice is heard about, maybe a negative issue. But we need to find our voice on this day. Finding our voice is very, very important. Communicating with our family, communicating with maybe people in our tribe, in our inner circle, so to speak. It's very much needed. And so don't be afraid to address those things. The universe will support you in doing so. In fact, it will create how you deal with those circumstances of needing to find your voice will create future karma, positive or negative, for you. If you need to have a word to your family or a word to your tribe or something, or your inner community, and you do it in a kindly way, in a way that uplifts and blesses others, whatever it is the topic might be, you will actually generate good future vibes. There's power in your words on the day that Mercury and the North Node conjunct on the 11th of May. So, you can create good, positive future karma, but equally if you deride people and bring them down and ridicule them and use your words for negative, you will create really difficult future karma for yourself under this influence. So watch your words with your family, your tribe, and the people from your heritage and lineage. This is a day when you might be feeling very busy with properties, very busy with maybe looking at real estate or land or just your home in general. You might be busy in the garden, you might be busy cleaning, you might be busy rearranging furniture or something, or wallpapering a wall. You could just be very, very busy in your domestic environment. Maybe you've got people coming for dinner and you're just flat out. Mercury is a social planet. Rahu, the North Node, amplifies the energy of Mercury because it's hungry for Mercury on this day, and it's in the house of hospitality. So you might just have a lot more visitors than usual in your home under this energy, just busy, busy, busy in your home and domestic environment, or to do with fourth house things, property, land, gardens, etc. Now, if you are in your retirement years, and the fourth house in some schools of astrology does relate to our retirement years, now, if you're in that stage and you're watching this, then you might find that you particularly are very hectic in every facet of your life. You're running around, catching up with friends, doing the shopping, going to bowls or whatever it is, some sort of sport that you do or craft group that you attend, and you're just flat out busy with your retirement plans. So that can also be a manifestation on this day too. One thing that I would say for Pisces rising people is that Rahu does have connections to toxicity, and here in the house of emotion and emotional balance, and with Mercury, your mind might get a little bit out of balance, a little bit out of control, that causes maybe some emotional upheaval. So don't be surprised at that, and if it does happen, know that it's just a passing energy that will move on. And remember, your reactions to those circumstances and how you deal with those feelings and emotions and thought patterns that might come up are going to determine your future karma. So be wise, be cautious, detach, observe, and be conscious in what you do and how you react to your circumstances and the people who are in your intimate sphere of life as well. In fact, any activities that we undertake on this particular day, the 11th of May, can be very influential in the future karma that we experience. And anything that is a fourth house thing. So your interactions with family, but also what you do in your home can have karmic consequences. So keep your vibration high, keep looking for the good, keep acting with kindness and compassion. Use your home for kindness and compassion on this particular day. Communicate with love in your home. Share your home with friendliness and breeziness, as is the nature of Mercury, and you will tend to generate greater, more beneficial karma for the future. If we are Aquarius rising sun or moon people, The energy of this conjunction of the North Node and Mercury is falling in the 5th house for you. And so this is where you may need to find your voice on the 11th of May. Maybe you need your voice to be heard. Maybe your children have been ignoring you. House of Children, maybe they've been sort of running roughshod over you, and you need to speak up now. You need to do that. And this is an energy that will support you in finding your voice and being heard. It's an energy that's going to help you, if you do so, if you find your voice, if you speak up against, kids who are running roughshod over you, or a lover who's not treating you right, or whatever. If you find your voice with those people now, you can actually generate good future karma for yourself, especially if you stand up and speak your truth with kindness and confidence. This is also the house of our inner child, and I want you to find your voice with your inner child. What did your younger little self not say that you should have said? Maybe you need to honor that your inner child was afraid to find its voice when you were little, afraid to speak up. And we've all had experiences like that. Doesn't matter how beautiful our childhood is, that can be the case where we've had moments where we didn't speak up when we should have spoken up. And maybe you need to revisit your inner child and love your inner child for a circumstance where they were not able to find their voice. Because this is, as I said, the house of the inner child, and Mercury with the North Node is about finding our voice for the purpose of generating beautiful future karma for ourselves. I would encourage you, Aquarius people, to find your playful side, your loving side, because Mercury is playful. Rahu is hungry for more of Mercury in the house of fun and joy. So go have some fun today. Get in touch with that inner child again by playing. Go jump on the swings at the park, and swing as high as you can, like you're going to touch the sky. That's just a silly example, but find whatever it is that is playful to you under this energy, and you will actually generate a lot of positive momentum for your future. Now, you may also be feeling very hectic and busy. That's the energy of Rahu and Mercury. And in this house, busy with children, busy with lovers, busy with hobbies, busy with pleasurable experiences. Maybe, you're playing with your kids all day, and then you're going out to a concert at night, and it's like run from one thing to another, but it's pleasurable busyness. And so that can be very, very nice, of course, but that's one of the manifestations of this energy on the 11th of May. And finally, any actions that you undertake, any pleasurable experiences that you have, any good interactions with children and lovers on this day is going to create good future karma for you. So keep your words benevolent and uplifting and full of blessing to others. Words are powerful when Rahu conjuncts Mercury, and how you speak is going to have a greater impact rippling across the waves of time than you realize. So be very conscious and very aware of how you communicate with people in a 5th house realm, because it will affect you. Just like throwing a pebble into a pond can have far-reaching effects that, that go on and on. So keep that in mind. Your karma is not at stake. That's not what I'm looking for. Your karma is being affected by what you say and do on this particular day, the 11th of May. So for Capricorn rising sun or moon people, well, we are looking at this energy of North Node with Mercury falling in your 6th house. Now, the 6th house is a rather challenging area of the horoscope. Let's face it, it's one of the malefic houses, and in many schools of astrology, one of the most difficult houses in astrology. But it's also the house of burning our karma, getting rid of our, let's say, our superfluous karma that is not wanted any longer, the yucky stuff, the yucky karmic fruit. And we do this through service. We burn our karma through service. So today, when we have Mercury conjuncting the North Node of our future karma, how we can create good future karma for ourselves is to use our words and our communications for service. And that will generate good future karma for ourselves, as well as burning old karmic rubbish. So, if you've got co-workers who are going through a tough time, speak words of upliftment and encouragement to those people. Co-workers are seen from the 6th house. If you've got enemies that you're dealing with, then, you know, don't let them run roughshod over you. Don't become a martyr or anything, but maybe speak words of fairness, speak words of, you know, of justice, not selfishness, not narcissism. Speak words of, you know, as uplifting as you can be given the circumstances with enemies. I mean, like if you want to go into Bible stuff, it says, you know, that like speaking words of kindness can really diffuse difficult situations with people who are against us. That's my paraphrasing of a portion of Proverbs, but it's actually true. So use your words for good now to help dissolve, you know, unwanted situations and create and generate positive karma with even your enemies. You might find that your communications at work are actually more significant than you realize on this day, and you know, how you write that email and with what tone is used will have significant long-term impacts for you, because Mercury is with the point of future karma. So, you know, double check everything. Is it coming across as friendly, or am I being, you know, sounding like I've got a rod up my ass? You know, like, be conscious of how you are communicating. Now, you are also, beautiful Capricorn people, going to be extremely busy on this day, because this is a house of our mundane, everyday, ordinary responsibilities and duties. So when we have this busy energy of Rahu with Mercury, we're just flat out with our mundane, ordinary, everyday responsibilities. You know, we've got to vacuum the floor, we've got to cook dinner, we've got to go to work, we've got to drop the kids at basketball practice. We're run with our ordinary, everyday responsibilities. Don't be surprised if that happens. Roll with it. It's not always going to be like that, but it is just going to be a hectic day for you guys. And remember also that the activities that you undertake on this day, you know, what you do for your health care, your health and well-being, whether that's exercise or diet, whether it's seeing an alternative medical practitioner or someone, whatever actions you undertake that are sixth house related, you know, your communications with colleagues at work, your how dedicated you are to your work. Other actions of a sixth house nature might be like how effectively you are alleviating poverty or paying your bills and what have you in your life, or how you are dealing with health issues, as I said, how you are treating your pets. All of these activities are sixth house things. All of these things will impact your karma on the 11th of May. So when you undertake sixth house activities like I've just suggested and listed for you, do them with an attitude of love, do them with an attitude of service as well. If you've got to take your pet to the vet, or if you have to just feed your pet, think, how can I do this in a way that generates love between my pet and I? You know, so if you're taking them to the vet, you make it so that they're not in a state of fear, and you act with kindness to your pet. If you're feeding your pet dinner, think, okay, how can I give my pet the best food? You know, not just some cheap crap. You know, go and, I don't know, buy them some gourmet sausages or something like that. And what can you give your pet that is going to show love? Because the actions that you undertake, and that's just one illustration, the actions that you undertake and the energy behind those actions on the 11th of May is going to affect, good or bad, your future karma. You know, if you kick the cat, well, you're going to get some future karma with that. So be careful and conscious about the activities of the sixth house, because they're going to affect you for the long term, like throwing a pebble into a pool of water and the ripples carry on. All right, so if we are Sagittarius rising, sun or moon people, the energy of the North Node conjunct with Mercury is falling. I'll make sure this holds straight. The seventh house for you guys. So this is where you may need to find your voice. That's a big component of Mercury with the North Node, and it might be in realms to do with maybe lawyers. Maybe you need to speak up to a lawyer and say, now hang on, you're charging me an arm and a leg here, and I need you to recognize X, Y, and Z in this dealing. You know, you might need to actually speak up and be heard. Remember to do it with kindness, but authority if that's what you need. Maybe you need to speak to a business partner and share your thoughts. I mean, this is the sign of Gemini that we're in after all. It's about sharing information. You might be sharing some sort of information with a business partner, and maybe it's time to speak up and share that information with a business partner, or share some insight with your marriage partner or your significant other in some way. The seventh house has to do with other people who are significant in our lives. That could be our clients, could be our audience even. Maybe you need to find your voice with these people and share something that is significant now. Don't be afraid to let your voice be heard. You may also be feeling very hectic and very busy with these realms of life too. You might be busy handling contracts and negotiations and mediations in some realm of life, and you're just running from one, negotiation to another. Maybe you might be feeling very hectic and busy with the demands of your spouse, the demands of your business partner now. But that's just the part of this energy. Roll with it. Know that it's not a permanent thing. It's not going to be like this forever. It's just the energy of Rahu and Mercury keeping you on your toes. And finally, with this house, any activities that we undertake that are 7th house related, on the 11th of May, they're going to impact us for the long term. And what I mean by that is they will have karmic consequences down the track. So if you treat your business partner with respect, if you communicate, Mercury, with them with kindness, if you are, thinking about them, Mercury is how we think. If you're thinking about, say, your business partner or your marriage partner, and, thinking thoughtfully about them, oh, look, I think I know it's their birthday tomorrow, I'll go buy them a cake, or, you are considerate, and your thoughts are for their betterment, then you'll get positive karma in the future. If you are thinking critical thoughts, if you are thinking angry thoughts, if you are speaking angry words, if you're gaslighting partners, if you're doing any of that behavior, you are creating your own future karma very strongly on this day, because the North Node is the point of future karma, and Mercury is triggering that activity for future karma on this day in the realm of the 7th house for you guys. Also be very careful of the activities you undertake with regard to contracts and contract signing and negotiations too, because what you sign now on this particular day, the 11th of May, is going to be far more significant than you realize karmically for you. So read the fine print, look at the fine detail. Now, I'm not saying don't sign contracts, but if it's something that you don't want to come back to bite you, maybe postpone it. Maybe do it a day or two after, if you can manage that. Above all, despite the fact that Rahu, the North Node, can indicate toxicity with our communications when he's with Mercury, do be conscious, do be clear in your mind about communicating with love, communicating with kind intent, and you will go a lot further and create more karmic blessing for yourself in the long run. Okay, so Scorpio rising, sun or moon people. The energy of the North Node conjunct with Mercury is falling in the 8th house, and this is where we may need to find our voice. Now, it might sound silly, but maybe we need to find our voice regarding our death. Now, that might sound really crazy, like, what are you speaking about death for? Well, Western society is very averse to talking about death, but it's just another part of life. It's just a process of transformation. Let's not shy away from it now. This is the house of death, metaphoric death, and for literal death, we actually need to look at a few more different placements. It's not just the 8th house, but it is a part of the literal death, but only one small part. There are others. So maybe you need to speak up and find your voice about what you want your funeral to be like. Some of us might be at a stage of life where we're thinking about that sort of thing and needing to look at that. Maybe you need to sort of, think about your will. Okay, I need to sort of communicate what my thoughts are, my feelings are regarding my will. Well, this is actually a day where you might get inspired to do that, but it is a day when you're being called to find your voice regarding 8th house things. What's going to happen when I pass over? Who's going to get what? What's my will? What's my legacy? So think about these things on this day and find your voice and create the contracts or the agreements or the communications required to set things up the way that you want. Some of you might need to actually find your voice regarding your shadow side, to honor your shadow side. And that doesn't mean that you go and jump on the highest rooftop with a megaphone and start telling everyone about all your dirty, dark secrets. Rather, it could be that you need to find your voice for yourself, maybe through journaling. Mercury is to write. if you write about the hidden side of yourself, the side that is you're maybe in denial about, or that you don't want to acknowledge is there, maybe your anger, maybe your sexual inclinations that aren't quite deemed acceptable in society, whatever it is that is part of your shadow side, maybe write about it or speak about it to a very dear friend or an intimate lover or something, and share your shadow side. Release the burden of your shadow side under this energy. And I've just given you some suggestions for how you can do that. It is a day for finding our voice regarding the things of the 8th house. When we do so, we can transform ourselves. We can transform that darkness within us. So don't be afraid to do that, but obviously do find safe space to do so in. The 8th house is a house of coming to terms with the power that we have within us. So with Mercury here conjunct with the North Node on the 11th of May, we may need to get a bit more light and breezy with the power we hold within, to accept it, to embrace it, but also hold it lightly, not be too intense about who we are. And of course with Gemini for Scorpio people as the 8th house, that is kind of helpful. It does help lighten things up because Gemini is a bright, breezy kind of energy. Now, we might find that we're exceptionally busy on the 11th of May, Scorpio people, with 8th house things. We might be going to see an energy healer, and then maybe we're going to have a Reiki session, or we're just, if we work in occult fields, maybe we're flat out with clients and busy. Maybe we're a psychologist and our bookings are just off the charts on this particular day, the 11th of May, because this is an energy of busyness. This is an amplification of Mercury energy, which is busy already. So expect to be busy with regard to these occult matters. You might even be very mentally switched on about introspection too, and going deep and doing lots of research, doing lots of uncovering, hidden realms of the psyche, or researching something in a lab, or, getting to the bottom of things in some manner. You can be very, very busy with that kind of stuff as well. Keep in mind too that the activities that we undertake on the 11th of May are going to affect us karmically into the future. Like throwing a stone into a still pond and watching the ripples go out and out and on and on. That's what it's like. We need to be careful and conscious of what we're doing, how we are speaking to our intimate lovers. Are we gaslighting them? Are we being narcissistic with them, or are we loving and kind and considerate? 8th house is a house of intimate relationships. So assess, what are my actions with my intimate significant others? Or others, depending on your inclination. But, what are your actions there? Are they kind? Because whatever actions you undertake towards these people, it's going to affect you in the future. Do you want it for good or do you want it for bad? The choice is yours. How you are using your inner power as well is going to really affect your future too. Are you using it to bless others and uplift others, or are you using it to exploit them and manipulate them? You might have to do some serious contemplation here, Scorpio people, about how you are using your great power. Scorpio people are very powerful people. Maybe you need to look at how you are setting up your will, or creating sort of contracts for inheritances or legacies that you want to leave for people. Are you being thoughtful, kind, fair with those things? Because your future karma could be affected by it. So maybe even if you're looking at using community property, which is an 8th house thing, how, if you're using like a hall for a yoga meeting, a yoga practice session, how do you leave that hall? Do you sort of leave the lights on and the fans going and it's a bit of a mess? Yes, that's creating future karma. If you're using community property and leaving it in a better state than you found it, that's creating future karma for you too. So remember, ripple effects on the 11th of May. Watch what you're doing, watch what you're saying, how you're communicating, and how you're using 8th house energy. Libra rising, sun or moon people. The energy of the conjunction of the North Node and Mercury is falling in your 9th house, the most benevolent house in the horoscope, a very lucky house. This is where you might need to find your voice today. It's a house of beliefs. It's a house of faith, ethics, morals, maybe you need to speak up, Libra people, about what your ethics are. Maybe, I don't know, you've been dating somebody and you've been sort of putting up with some behavior that's not really your cup of tea, and we know Librans have high standards. Maybe that you've been putting up with something and it's not really rubbing you the right way. Maybe you need to speak up about that. Let your voice be heard. This is actually what I believe. This is actually what I stand for, and I'm just not comfortable with your ethics in that regard, or that kind of thing. It's a healthy thing to do, to speak up, and the universe is going to help you find your voice about your ethics, your morals, your beliefs, your standards today, the 11th of May. So don't be afraid to find your voice. The universe has your back. You might be speaking up about sort of cultural affairs, international affairs, and it's right to do so. Mercury is being amplified by the North Node on this day, and what is Mercury? To speak, to find your voice, to be heard, to communicate about something of significance. So allow that to be the case. Your voice may very well need to be heard in society. I might also point out, could be on social media. It doesn't have to actually be with your voice. It could be a social media thing. Gemini is social media. So you might be sharing, I don't know, Russell Brand's latest video on your Facebook page. And that's part of your, sharing your opinion, sharing your belief, sharing, an inspirational figure, which is also very ninth house through a social media mechanism, Gemini. You're also probably going to feel quite busy, I would say, on this day, because the amplification of Mercury, which is a busy energy already. And what might that look like? Well, it might mean that you're involved in lots of cross-cultural activities. Maybe in the evening you're going to a Chinese festival, and in the morning you had breakfast at an Ethiopian restaurant or something like that. And you're just flat out with immersion in other cultures or international activities, international buying and selling and trading maybe happening. You might be really busy teaching something or sharing some wise knowledge that you have, and you're just running from one thing to another, busy with ninth house things. Keep in mind, Libra people, too, that your activities that you undertake that are ninth house related on the 11th of May are going to significantly affect you for the future in a karmic sense. It's like, and I've used this analogy for every sign so far, but it's like throwing a stone into a pool of water and watching the ripples go out and out and out. That's exactly what this day will be like. We can't see how significantly things are going to affect us down the track, but let me tell you, the energy on this day is designed to take us into our karmic future. So if you are speaking your mind about your ethics and morals with love, with a heart intent of enlightening people or creating a more beautiful world, shining a light into sort of hidden realms, doing sort of good with your voice, creating more faith, creating more belief, creating more inspiration, expanding people's awareness. If that is the heart center that you're coming from, then you will generate positive karma for yourself. But if you are sharing your opinions with a dogmatic approach, if you're sharing your beliefs, which is very ninth house as well, there's a shadow side to the ninth house. If you're sharing your beliefs with fanaticism and zealousness and bashing people over the head with a Bible or whatever it happens to be, then your karma might be to reap that sort of fanaticism, to reap that aggressiveness, and you really don't want that karma. So watch how you're communicating your beliefs and with what heart attitude you're sharing your beliefs on the 11th of May. Also, if you are somebody who interacts cross-culturally or deals with international affairs, like myself, I do readings for people all over the world. Really look at your heart center with how you are interacting with other cultures and with other foreign people from other parts of the world. Look at where your heart is with that and how you are approaching that, because the energy that you're giving to those communications, those trade deals, those buying and selling or whatever international deals you might be undergoing, the energy that is going into those things is going to affect you for the long term. Make it positive, make it light, make it benevolent and loving wherever you can. All right, for Virgo rising, sun or moon people, the energy of Mercury in a conjunction with the North Node is falling in the 10th house, an angular house, therefore it's very important for you Virgo people. So this is where you may need to find your voice. Don't be afraid to speak up in your career now. You know, maybe you've been shortlisted for a wonderful promotion, or to be on your project that you've only ever dreamed you could be involved in. Maybe you need to speak up and say your piece about, you know, what you can contribute and what you can give. It's not about, hey, I'm better than everybody else, so pay attention to me. It's like, let me speak positive words towards my obtaining that promotion, or towards my getting that project or whatever. Find your voice, allow your voice to be heard now. There might be other situations too where you need to approach an authority figure and speak up for some situation, to let your voice be heard, to communicate about something. That is Mercury being amplified by the North Node in the 10th house right now. The 10th house is our reputation in the world as well. I don't know what you've been experiencing. Maybe you've experienced a positive worldly reputation. Maybe people have been gossiping about you. Who knows? But I know, because there's thousands of people who watch my videos and everyone's having a different experience with that. But it will be time with this conjunction to speak up about your worldly reputation. Maybe you need to speak up and say thank you to the people who've been honoring you, who've been lifting you up, who've been spruiking your good reputation in the world. Maybe it's time to express through words or emails or, you know, some sort of communication your gratitude. Maybe it's time to speak up against people who've been gossiping about you or running you down or maligning you in some way. There's a need to look at your reputation and to speak up about it when we have this conjunction here in the, not the 9th house, the 10th house. You're also going to be really busy, really busy on the 11th of May with work, with career, with new ideas, new projects for career. Really busy growing your social status perhaps as well. You could even be very busy with one of your parents. Now, some schools of astrology see the 10th house connected to the father. I know Liz Green, amongst other astrologers as well, but she's probably the most famous, is actually in view that the 10th house has to do with the mother. So, and I can see her argument for that, to be perfectly honest. My jury is out, but I'm doing some serious assessment of the topic. But one of your parents, father or mother, may actually keep you very busy on this day. They might be ringing you for help or assistance, or they might be asking you to fix a problem, or they might just be very much in your sphere for good reasons, and you might be keeping you very busy. Authority figures and leaders might be keeping you on your toes as well. So you might be running errands for the boss, or you might be, trying to deal with governmental, organizations or something, or meet their demands. So don't be surprised if you've got lots of admin tasks to do with 10th house things, or you're just running from place to place and just, buzzing for 10th house issues. Now, the 10th house on the 11th of May is also going to be very important for creating future karma. I've used this analogy for every sign. It's like throwing a stone into a pool of still water, and we watch the ripples go out and out and out beyond the stone. That's what it's like. What we think is insignificant on the 11th of May is actually going to have far-reaching ripple effects for our future karma. That's the effect of the North Node. So what activities are you undertaking on the 11th of May to do with your work, to do with your relationships with bosses and authority figures, to do with generating positive social status for yourself in the world? Take a good look. What are you doing? What activities are you undertaking? Because it will affect your karma. If you are putting yourself out there in a narcissistic way that gaslights other people, that causes guilt in other people in order to generate career success and worldly achievements for yourself, hello, you'll reap the karma for undertaking things with that attitude. If on the flip side, you are undertaking worldly activities, or seeking worldly achievement with a purpose of love, with a purpose of creating more beauty and harmony in the world, with an ideal of generating more beauty, or anything that is good, a heart space that is positive and beautiful, then you're going to generate positive, beautiful karma for yourself. So be very conscious and aware of how you're treating other people in your career and to attain the status and worldly achievement that you desire. If you're stomping all over other people, be very, very wary on this day. If you're treating people with love and generosity and kindness, then you can reap the beautiful rewards. Lots of power in this day, and especially, I might add, power in our words and how we speak and communicate to others. All right, if we happen to be Leo rising, sun or moon people, thank you for your patience. We are in getting to your sign. We are seeing the conjunction of the North Node and Mercury falling in your 11th house, a very benevolent house of the horoscope. And what does this mean? It means this is a realm where we are going to be called to or inspired to find our voice. In fact, it's very important that we do. This is the house of the masses. So Leo people, you're very good at this, but you actually might be required to speak to large groups of people or write your message or some words to a large group of people. What's on your heart? What's on your mind? You might be required to communicate that to the masses. 11th house is the masses. To the hoi polloi, to the everyday ordinary people. And we know, Leo, you are kind of like the king. And so, you as a leader energy might be required to inspire people in some way through your communications. So find your voice. Find the message that you are here to share and go forth and share it on the 11th of May when we have the conjunction of the North Node and Mercury. I'd also encourage you to look within and find your truth regarding your goals and your aspirations and what you want to gain from in this lifetime. That's also 11th house things. Now, you might be feeling very hectic and busy with your goals and dreams as well. Chasing that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow could keep you on your toes. You might be, like I said, speaking to large crowds or preparing a plan for your, that's Mercury very much, to prepare a plan and to sort of structure and organize with sort of admin tasks, what you want to achieve goal-wise. You might create a vision board or a Pinterest board for what you want in life. Today's a great day to do that, and you can be very busy generating, future visions for yourself and what you want to achieve. You might be very busy with your friends as well. So, lots of activities with friends, lots of connections with friends, lots of, ringing up and checking in on friends. Are they doing okay? Or they're ringing up and checking on you. Hey, how's it going? It's a good energy for that. It's a very friendly energy because the North Node amplifies Mercury's qualities, and Mercury is a very friendly planet in a friendly sign, Gemini. So Leo people, you're going to be flat out with socializing and social connections on the 11th of May. But remember, keep in mind, whatever activities, whatever interactions and communications that we undertake with people on the 11th of May, it's going to affect us karmically into the future. Because the North Node is our point of future karma. And I've used this analogy, it's like throwing a stone into a pool of water where the ripples just go on and on and on. And this is the energy, whatever you think is insignificant and small, maybe a word spoken here or an email sent there, some sort of activity with a friend in another manner. It's no immaterial experience. It's going to affect your karma for the future, North Node. So keep your interactions with friends from a place of love and a place of kindness and appreciation. Leos are very good at appreciating. They want to be appreciated. They also know how to give appreciation if they're functioning at a high Leo vibrational level. So give that appreciation and love to your friends now, to the masses, to large crowds of people, Maybe, share a post on your Facebook page. This is Gemini energy after all. Maybe put a YouTube video out there, just sharing words of upliftment, perhaps, from a place of love. Share it with the masses. In doing so, you're going to generate good karma for yourself. And look at your goals and dreams too on this day. You can have karma with your goals and dreams. If you create a vision board for some, goals or dreams that you have that's very, coming from a place of love and beauty, maybe, you have a goal or dream to have a beautiful self-sufficient property and you've always wanted that, and you put into it an energy of how can this bless others, how can this be a gift not only to myself but to others, and you look for ways to tweak your your self-sufficient property to be of blessing. Maybe you grow organic cherries or something and you want to sell them at the local market. Well, there's a way to bless people through your own dreams and goals and aspirations. Try and include, I hope you're getting the picture here, try and include an energy of how can I bring love for humanity, 11th house, into my goals and dreams now. And the more you can do that, the more you can inject love and kindness and a spirit of grace into your goals and dreams, into your interactions with friends, into your communications with the masses, the more that you will reap the beautiful karma that comes from that, the blessing that comes from being in that right energy space. If you do the reverse and you're critical of your friends, or you're demeaning them, or you're gossiping behind their back, if you're sort of sharing narcissistically with large groups of people, look at me, here I am, here's my big ego, then you're kind of going to reap the karmic rewards of those attitudes. If you're acting from a place of self-obsession, all those low vibrational energies that we all know about, if that's how you're behaving with 11th house things, then you will tend to generate the karma that is deserved with those kinds of things as well. So be conscious, be aware, and let's manifest at a high level, because this is a very powerful energy. Also, keep in mind that your words are powerful on this day. How you speak will have a greater effect than what you probably realize. All right, so finally, Cancer people who have been so very patient today, the energy of Mercury with the North Node is falling in the 12th house of your horoscope. This is quite a fascinating day for Cancer people, because it's a day when we start to find our voice and the universe is calling us to speak up. In the house of our past ancestors, it could be, and you may not realize this is happening, but it could be that issues that were close to their hearts start being made felt in your life, and they may, let's say, speak through you regarding an issue of concern. I don't know, maybe, for example, if you had ancestors who passed away in the Second World War, you might suddenly get a great desire to speak up about the atrocities of war, or speak up against going and fighting for causes that are not associated with our freedom, for oil or something like that. You might find that you are actually channeling especially with Rahu involved in this, the voice of your ancestors on a certain topic. Could be very interesting. So be conscious, be aware of what you're speaking about, what you're thinking about, where your thoughts go, because it's very connected to past lives, maybe your own, but also to the deceased ancestors who are watching over us. You might find that you're talking in your sleep because this is an energy of finding our voice. So if you're somebody who records your night experiences, some people have apps that record it, you might find that you have some very interesting things to say in your sleep. Maybe some powerful things come through in your sleep talking. You might be speaking up now and encouraged by the universe to find your voice about spirituality. This is the house of spirituality and spiritual insights and wisdom that comes from the divine. So I've talked about ancestors, but it can also be that the higher entities, the higher spirits, actually have a message that they want the world to know through you. It might just be that they want your family to know about it. It might be that they want you to know about it. It might be that they want the whole globe to know about it. And it could manifest on any level. But you are going to be in some way a messenger for the higher realms. Don't be afraid to use your voice. So that could mean, it's a good day to do channel writing. When you sit, and automatic writing is what it's called, and some energy comes through and speaks a message that you need to hear. That could be a very personal thing. Or it could be that you sit down and you write a blog post, and it's the universe is moving through you and using you as its instrument to speak a message to the world through some sort of blog post or some sort of communications of some sort. So don't be afraid to let your voice be heard now. This is part of the energy and the momentum that needs to happen. You could also find that you're very hectic and busy, Cancer people, under this influence as well. And that might look like let me use an example. Busy with 12th house things, busy with, meditation in the morning. Then I'm going to go on a walk around the lake and just communicate with spirit. And then I'm going to go and get my nails done in a nail spa. That's a 12th house place. It's a place of escape from Monday ordinary reality. Then I might get a massage. Then I'm going to go and to my prayer group and join my spiritual prayer group, and whatever it looks like. You could be really busy with 12th house things, believe it or not. Like, it's a house of flowing, going with the energy. And it's really cool like that. But we can still be really busy with 12th house things. I know me personally, I've had to pull back on the amount of 12th house things in my day because I just don't have time for everything, getting up and doing a ritual and then meditating and then doing yoga. And it's like, hang on a minute, so busy, so overwhelmed with trying to get into spirit. And that's the energy of North Node with Mercury on this particular day. Be aware that it is a passing energy. It doesn't have to be like this all the time, but you might feel even a little bit sort of mentally overwhelmed with, oh my goodness, I'm just so busy with my spiritual work. That can be a thing. Finally, what I want to mention with this energy is that whatever we undertake on this day, our actions, our communications, the words we speak, the thoughts we think, they're going to have a ripple effect way into the future, because the North Node is our point of future karma, the karma we're creating. So when Mercury is here conjuncting in the 12th house, which has to do with past karma, we are creating future karma that may be coming out of our past karmic experiences. That's very possible, but we also need to keep in mind that how we speak and how we think is going to determine our future on this day. Words are powerful, thoughts are powerful on this day. So because this is a house of spirituality, I would encourage you to tap into, with love, with grace, the divine realms. And maybe that does mean having a day just filled with spiritual activity, with prayer, with meditation, yoga, blah, blah, blah. Why not? Why not set aside a day to connect? It would be the perfect day to sort of, if you can, just tap out of mundane, ordinary reality and go into divine space, because it will help you create a beautiful future for yourself, to generate energy that will change your world. So if this was me, I'm not a Cancer person. I do have some planets in Cancer, but it's not as strong as other places. Why not set aside a whole day for spirit? When I was at Bible college many, many years ago in my teens, we would have one day a month. It had a special name for it. I can't remember what it was called, but it was just a day where we were to go and be on our own with our Bible, maybe in nature, and just communicate with God. And they set aside one day a month at college that's what that day was all about. Nobody was to clean, nobody was to cook, nobody was to do schoolwork. It was just a spiritual day. And I think the 11th of May is a very good opportunity for Cancer people to do that, because it's going to affect your future so strongly. Think on spiritual things, meditate on spiritual things, write on spiritual things. Get into it. Mercury wants to communicate from the spiritual realms with you. Now, if you were to ignore the pull of spirit to do that sort of thing, and you just would, spend the day getting immersed in rushing here or there to, look after your kids or cook dinner or vacuum the house and do the mundane things, the sixth house things opposite the 12th house, then you may actually be generating some difficult karma for yourself. Simply because that's not where spirit is pulling you on this day. North Node, future, want to go here. That's what the energy is for you at the moment. It's not always going to be there. The North Node will soon move into Taurus, and then you'll have a whole different momentum and a whole different pull of energy. But right now, the North Node's in your 12th house saying, let's focus on our spiritual side, on our spiritual self. Don't ignore it, because especially on the 11th of May, whatever you do to pull you into spirit is going to help you connect with good future karma and generate positivity in your future. So everybody, I hope this run around the horoscope has helped you with your week ahead and given you some insights. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll have another video for you next week, and if you would like to, do check out my new moon report on the Patreon page. But for now, enjoy the bloopers. Know that I pray for you, and I hope that you are all blessed. Now we also see that Mercury will be moving in a... Now we also... haven't got time to go through them here all. Enough of Jupiter being in fall, Jupiter being in detriment. Jupiter's not in fall. Liz Green, one of my teachers, says, let's not say that. Somebody who we interact with in a, forget that somebody. You might like to, communicate, not you might like to, contract that you're signing, and you want it to be, forget that.